Hi everyone, it's Dennis Clary. I'm going to be talking to you about VocFit. If you do not have a VocFit account but need one, send me an email, dennis.clary@cchmc.edu. So we're going to talk quickly about the history of VocFit and our current grant, describe the basics of VocFit, figure out how hopefully VocFit will be helpful to you in your practice, take you to the VocFit website and learn about some of the new features of VocFit 2.0. So why should you use VocFit? Within the project search model, we're going to say that this is a guy named Doug, and Doug's interested in being a movie theater usher. So we assess him at the beginning of the year. The VocFit assessment, 133 items. It'll take you 15 to 20 minutes to fill that assessment out. What you see on the right-hand side is Doug's first assessment, October 17th, 2023. So you can see the green, yellow, and orange. And then below that, you see how well he's doing in each of the 11 subscales. So you can see lower task features is his best area, and higher task features is what he needs the most support in. So we're going to click on those greens, yellows, oranges, and reds. And here we can see that he's got 20 yellows. So these are the areas that he needs to work on so that he can become that movie theater usher. So how well suited are his skills to the demands of the movie theater usher job. So VocFit can help us decide what internships somebody should be on. And within those internships, what do we prioritize? So what skills are we working on first, second, and third? And that's really up to our sense of professionalism and our ability to do that. And then gradually we're going to layer in skills so that they build the skills they need to do that movie theater usher job. So do we need to adapt some things? Do we need to see if potentially he needs an accommodation? So Doug has done great. When we look at this top report with all the yellow, with his job progression, that 16 October 2023, and then we see where he is June 3rd, 2024. So he's made really remarkable progress, and you can see that he's made progress through each one of those. So where is he at the beginning of Project Search? Where is he at the end of Project Search after those 3 internships? And then we can actually look and see percentage-wise the improvement that he's made across the board. We love using these at employment planning meetings because it helps to demonstrate, hopefully, progress that people are making. So they love to hear that. And also our as part of their IEP or employment planning meeting documentation, it's really helpful for that as well. But also, if they're not making progress, then that's good information for us to have, and we need to figure out what do we need to change so that they can make the progress that they want to make. So that's really, within the project search model, a really good demonstration of why VocFit can be useful. So just to tell you a little bit of the history of VocFit, it started really when I was part of a project search program at the Ohio State University, and I was asked to help better match interns to internships and then graduates to jobs. So there is a pretty long talk that I could give you on what is the basis of these 133 items, but basically we used the National Longitudinal Transition Study 2, which followed folks. We were specifically interested in individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. After they graduated from high school, where did they go to work? So we backfilled that with ONET data to look and see from a U.S. Department of Labor labor statistics standpoint, what are the types of jobs they needed and what were the tasks that they needed to do. My co-research partner, Andy Persh, came into a dissertation in 2014 at Ohio State. And so really this work has been going on for almost 15 years now. So the vocational fit assessment was sort of launched in 2015. VocFit.com launched in 2016. We had about 500 users back in the good old days. We did receive an NIH grant in 2018. We're in the last year of that. So it was not really for the website itself, but on the back end, so you can feel good about the validity and reliability of VocFit. And so that we're wrapping up currently. And then we got this grant from the Ohio Department of Developmental Disabilities to pay for these VocFit 2.0 updates. And now we've got about 15,000 users on VocFit. So we launched it at the Project Search conference, and it's been getting really good reviews so far, and hopefully you'll feel that way too. So what is VocFit? It is a 133 item assessment of work abilities and job demands. It's able to show change over time reports. It's got a strengths-based approach for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. We focus on employment skills. Interests are certainly important, and we can look at that in terms of supporting individuals as they're looking at jobs and supporting them in the jobs that they're interested in doing. It's a valid and reliable tool. It's a really cool job matching tool with telehealth and teleeducation capabilities. We, again, have had good support from state grants and the National Institute of Health to keep VocFit going and make it even better. With 15,000 users, some of the big changes that have happened is we've got now videos for job exploration, links to local jobs in the United States economy, and a Discovery Job Bank that now has over 200 jobs and internships that are there. So if you think about VocFit and you think about your own abilities to lift heavy materials, so 40 pounds or more, to determine priorities, and to refrain from unnecessary social interactions. Are you good at those things? Do you have high ability to do it, some ability, or low ability to do that? And then if you think about the job that you have, does your job require you to lift heavy materials, to determine priorities, and to refrain from unnecessary social interactions? Do you have high demand in your job to do that, some demand, or low demand to do that as part of your job? So really that's what VocFit is. We look at the job seeker and their abilities, and we look at the job demands, and then we match those using an algorithm. I'll show you that here in a little bit. But that is really the basis of the VocFit job matching part of this. So high, some, and low, and what does that mean? So high ability is that you're basically independent. Someone can be alone in the room and they're able to meet the expectation of the employer. Low ability means that they're dependent on others to be able to complete the task to the expectation of the employer, or you're unsure. With support means you've got some emerging skill, you've got some ability, you're getting there, but you're not quite independent yet. High ability, some ability, low ability. And then when we look at the side of the job, we think about high demand, some demand, low demand. High demand would be essential, low demand would be never or almost never, and some demand would be some of the time. So if you think about going to a restaurant and the server that welcomes you to the restaurant, makes recommendations, and takes your order, they have a high demand for interacting face-to-face with the public. If you think about a sous chef or someone that's washing dishes in the back of the house, they would have a low demand to interact face-to-face with the public, whereas a busser would have some demand for interacting face-to-face with the public. They're bringing you your food, bringing you drinks. If you ask the busser a complicated question, they're going to say, hold on, let me get the server, and they can answer that for you. High demand, some demand, low demand. And so we intentionally chose a 3-point scale because we have so many folks that are leaving high school each year, and we are interested in helping to support them in competitive integrated employment in community settings. And so we really wanted a scale, not that I'm a licensed occupational therapist or a special educator or a psychologist or a speech language pathologist needed to fill out an assessment on. We really wanted this to be an assessment that everybody involved in the employment planning process was going to be able to use. The other nice thing about the high, some, and low ability, high, some, and low demand is it gives us a common language that we can use with people in our host business that doesn't sound sort of highfalutin. It's just language that people can understand pretty quickly, even outside of VocFit. So there are 133 items divided into 11 subscales. So at one point we had 3,000 VocFit items that we pulled out of the U.S. Department of Labor ONET website. Had about a 3-year process where we did multiple iterations of VocFit to get it down to 133 items. Most of those come directly from ONET. General work attributes, the lower right-hand corner, which is the highest number of skills, actually comes from the project search internship evaluation form. And those are things that ONET sort of expected that people coming into employment would have, those skills already built that we spent a lot of our time doing. Things like hygiene, hand washing, appropriate dress, appropriate communication types of skills. So anyway, the nice thing about this is a couple things. Within Project Search, the Project Search curriculum is mapped to VocFit, so you can look and see evidence-based resources to help people develop these skills. But also, when we're looking at intervention around communication, for example, it's rare that you're going to have one of those 8 skills that you're really developing. You're probably going to be developing 2 or 3 of those. So it's a nice way to group intervention based on subscale. So we give you these scores back as a raw percentage by subscale. So for example, if you look at this chart, there are 11 items in the physical ability subscale. The highest score you can get for any item is high. High ability is a 2, so 11 times 2 is 22. This individual scored 100% for physical abilities. So we give you that information back. If you look at work structure with the asterisk there in the middle, there's 13 items. 13 times 2 is 26. This particular individual scored a 21 out of 26, which is 81%. And so if you look at the bottom, that means they had 5 some ability and 8 high abilities. So again, we give you those back as a raw percentage by subscale. Within Project Search, we ask that you fill out VocFit 4 times. So that basically is before each internship and before job development. So when we do that, we actually are doing it before and after each internship, if you see how that works. We'd ask you to wait for the first 2 to 3 weeks when you are at the start of Project Search, when you're getting to know them, during those first 3 weeks of orientation. And then we want you to do it at the end of Project Search, because then we can measure change from the beginning of Project Search to the end of Project Search. So that's important. But also we want to use that data when we're looking at a job coaching plan after graduation. And again, really important to show these for employment planning meetings. Some people, again, are doing this for each employment planning meeting. I think it's a little overkill. If you want to do that and you find that's effective for you, that's great. But I think 4 times a year, before and after each internship, also is sufficient. So we have a novel approach to job matching. What we're trying to be is systematic, data-driven, and analytical. And so this is our process, and we think no one else in the world has ever done this, believe it or not. So we start with the instructional prompt. To what degree does the worker demonstrate? And for the job, to what degree does the job demand? And then we have 133 of these common item stems. The ability to communicate face-to-face with other people is one of those item stems. And then we have a customized rating scale. High ability, some ability, low ability for the worker, high demand, some demand, low demand for the job. So believe it or not, without telling you, we've actually set up an equation, and we're going to solve for X, because everybody loves to solve for X, right? So this is what our algorithm says, and this is where the colors come from. When we think about a worker having high ability and the job demand being high for that same item, they're really good at communicating face-to-face with the public. The job has a high demand to do that. Green is good. That's a mastered skill. High ability, they're really good at it. They have some demand. They have to do it some of the time, not all the time. Again, mastered skill. Yellow, some ability, some demand. They have some emerging skill. They need to do it some of the time, not all the time. So for us, we really like yellow because it's a really good, we call it within Project Search, the just right internship. So it's kind of the just right demand in terms of really helping people learn. Within education, that is called the zone of proximal development. So you're getting there. How do we get you from yellow to green? Some ability, high demand. So you have some emerging skill. You have to do it a lot. Again, we just have to be thoughtful about how are we adding that skill to the internship at what point, what supports does somebody need to be able to move from orange to green, is always going to be our goal, is to get folks to green. Low ability, high demand. So they're not very good at it, and they need to do it a lot. So again, we have to be careful about that. At what phase are we adding that in to the internship? And then we also need to be careful that we've included now unsure as part of our assessment. Then we're saying someone has a low skill, or we're not sure, because sometimes at the beginning of the project search year we just don't know. So just to be careful of that. So there might be some false reds at the beginning of the year because we're just not sure what their ability is. The other thing to think about with all of this is that low demand falls out altogether. So low demand is really no demand, and we don't model it. So within project search, we're intentionally putting people thoughtfully in yellows, oranges, and reds, so they can develop those skills to get the job that they want to get at graduation when they're done with project search. When we're looking at job placement, we want to be much more focused on green. All of us are going to have a little bit of yellow, a little bit of orange, or a little bit of red for all of our jobs that we need to figure out some support. So some of our physical abilities, for example, in that movie theater usher job, typically we would say a movie theater usher needs to stand, but we all know that people can use a wheelchair as an accommodation, or we can modify the environment so they can continue to be successful. But it's important that we're honest when we're assessing individuals and when we're assessing jobs, so that we know what the expectations are. And if someone needs an adaptation or an accommodation, that we know what that needs to be. So the 2.0 improvements and things that have happened with this new grant. So the Discovery Job Bank, DJB, now has over 200 jobs in it. So that's an increase of almost 200 jobs from where we were. It has a link to mynextmove.org, which is a U.S. Department of Labor website that links to all jobs in the economy. The thing about that is it has a link to some videos, which can be really useful from a discovery or standpoint, so people can learn about jobs. And also in the United States, it links to local jobs, so that you can really look and see, for your local area, what are their jobs that are available for that particular job. And there's also some simple explanation of what that job looks like. We've really increased the speed, so you're going to enjoy the faster performance with enhanced reporting. So you don't have to run reports anymore. It automatically is going to run those reports for you and put the most recent report up on VocFit at that point. We've got, again, speed has been really great with improved accessibility. So we're going to be able to download Excel spreadsheets for people with low vision, so they can use screen readers to be able to look at the same data. We have a cohort management tool that's pretty cool. And again, as I said, we've added unsure is now one of the options for you when you're assessing interns, and your progress is saved. So it used to be it didn't save automatically, but now it does. So if you get called away in the middle of an assessment, you can come back and find where you were the last part of your assessment. So those are some of the 2.0 improvements to this point. Some of the things that are coming, which we're really excited about, is we'll have data analysis for cohort and curricular planning and measurable skill gain. So you'll be able to assess all of your interns at the beginning of the year. It's coming probably in October 2024, to be able to look at that both for change over the course of the year, but also for your curricular decisions that you're making. We're also going to be able to connect different agencies or different sites within agencies to be able to pool project search programs for measurable skills gains. So we might be able to look at a particular state or region to look and see what was the improvement for that particular region. Something we're very excited about is the artificial intelligence job matching tool, which is coming up. We just have to be careful about that from an ethics standpoint to make sure we're still accounting for people's ability to learn and grow over time. We have a VocFit planning tool that's coming soon and a family-friendly experience. So very excited about all that. So that's VocFit 2.0. Thanks for being here and learning about it. And if you have questions, again, feel free to reach out, and I'm happy to help you with that. Have a great day.